All right, let's dive in today. We're going to be talking about loneliness,
Okay.
and we're actually looking at this blog post from Lestallion. Have you heard of Lestallion?
I have. They make beautiful journals.
They make gorgeous journals.
Mm.
And they have this blog post called 50 Journal Prompts for Loneliness.
Interesting.
So we're going to use these prompts as like a jumping off point,
Okay.
to kind of explore this feeling of loneliness and, how it impacts us and maybe even look at some solutions.
I love that idea. And what's so fascinating about this blog post is how it's structured.
Yeah.
It breaks these 50 prompts down into 3 distinct categories.
Oh, wow.
It's almost like a roadmap leading us through understanding our own loneliness, building a stronger connection with ourselves, and then finally exploring how we connect with others.
That's a great way to think about it, like a roadmap.
I love that.
So they start right off the bat with this first section, understanding your feelings. And one of the prompts that really stood out to me was, describe what loneliness feels like to you.
Hmm.
Is it a physical sensation, an emotional void, or something else entirely?
Wow. That's such a great prompt because it really encourages us to go beyond just saying, I feel lonely.
Right.
Right, to really pinpoint what's going on.
That's true.
Is it a sharp pang in your chest, or maybe it's a dull ache that just kind of sits with you, Identifying those sensations, those unique feelings that come with your loneliness can be a huge step in understanding where it stems from.
It's like we become investigators of our own emotions.
Absolutely.
There's another prompt in this section that dives into that even further. It says, reflect on the moments when you feel the loneliest. What triggers those feelings, and how do they impact your mood? So now we're really getting down to the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, triggers are so interesting, right? Because sometimes they hide in plain sight. It's like they're lurking in the shadows. And by reflecting on when you feel most lonely, you can start to shine a spotlight on those shadows and really understand not just the what of loneliness, but the why behind it.
That's so true.
Right.
And sometimes those triggers aren't even external, right? It can be our own thoughts, our own patterns. But speaking of digging deeper, there's this other prompt that says, reflect on the difference between loneliness and solitude. How can you redefine your alone time to feel more empowering?
Oh, that's where things get really interesting.
I know, right?
Because solitude, that time spent alone, can actually be such a wellspring of creativity and strength and even renewal.
I love that.
So this prompt is challenging us to shift our perspective.
Yeah.
Can we take those moments of being alone and transform them from something we dread into something that empowers us?
Because I think a lot of times we do dread being alone.
We do.
And it's like, can we reframe that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So for you listening to this, what does all this mean? It means that understanding your loneliness starts with paying attention, becoming aware,
Right.
noticing those triggers, those physical sensations, and really flipping the script on alone time.
It's about reclaiming that time and making it a source of self-discovery rather than a source of distress.
Exactly.
Powerful stuff.
It is. And now getting into the second section, building self-connection, this is all about turning inward and focusing on ourselves.
Okay.
And I'm really excited to dig into this one because I feel like this is where we start to find some solutions.
Yeah, the second section is all about getting to know yourself better, like really becoming your own best friend.
Yes. And there's this one prompt that I think speaks directly to like our learner side.
Okay.
It says, write about a skill or hobby you've always wanted to explore. How could diving into it make your alone time more fulfilling?
Oh, I love that.
I know, like I can already feel my to-do list growing.
What's fascinating about that prompt, though, is that it's not just about keeping busy.
Right.
Studies actually show that engaging in a hobby that you're passionate about can actually reduce cortisol levels.
Oh, wow.
Which is that nasty stress hormone. So it's really about finding those activities that light you up and make you feel more connected to yourself.
Yeah. It's like those hobbies become a bridge between you and you.
Exactly.
Okay, this next one's a little bit more touchy-feely, but I kind of love it. It says, write a love letter to yourself, acknowledging your strength and resilience during moments of solitude.
Ooh.
Now, I know that might sound a little cheesy at first.
Okay.
But imagine actually doing it, like pouring out all those positive feelings onto paper.
I love that. It's such a powerful exercise in self-compassion
Yeah.
and self-validation. And it can really help cultivate a more positive inner dialogue.
Because we're often our own worst critics.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We are so hard on ourselves.
So it's like giving yourself that pep talk, but
Yeah.
like in a way that lets you really soak it in.
Sometimes that's exactly what we need. Just a reminder of our own strength and resilience.
So ready to shift gears a little bit. This third category, exploring connections, this takes us outward, focusing on those bonds with other people.
This is where the rubber meets the road.
Yes.
Right. Because while cultivating a strong sense of self is essential, we humans are wired for connection. We thrive on it.
Yeah. And I love how practical these prompts are.
Okay.
Like, for example, there's this one, reflect on someone who brings joy to your life. How can you reach out to them in a meaningful way? It's not just about thinking about connection.
Right.
It's about taking action.
I love that. And those actions don't have to be grand gestures either.
Yeah.
A simple phone call, a handwritten note,
Right.
even just a heartfelt text can make a huge difference.
Totally.
It's about nurturing those relationships that bring meaning to our lives.
And then there's another prompt here that really resonated with me. It says, reflect on the type of relationships you want to cultivate. What qualities are most important to you? It's like they're encouraging us to be really intentional about the people we surround ourselves with.
That's so important.
It is.
It's about aligning ourselves with people who share our values, who support our growth, and who make us feel seen and heard.
Totally. And then this one, I think, speaks to those who might be feeling a bit lost socially.
Okay.
It says, think about a community or group you'd like to join. How can you take the first step toward becoming part of it?
I love how action-oriented that prompt is.
It is.
It's encouraging us to actively seek out connection.
So this raises an important question for you, the listener.
Yeah.
What steps can you take today to foster those connections?
Maybe it's reaching out to an old friend,
Yeah.
joining a book club, or even volunteering for a cause you care about.
Perfect. The possibilities are pretty much endless.
They are.
It's worth noting that this blog post doesn't sugarcoat things.
Right.
It acknowledges the pain and the isolation that can come with loneliness.
Yeah.
But it always comes back to this message of hope and resilience.
And that's so crucial because loneliness, while often unwelcome, is a part of the human experience.
It is.
It's not a weakness, but rather an opportunity for growth and self-discovery.
So we've journeyed through these 50 prompts, uncovering so many layers of insight along the way.
We have.
We've talked about understanding our feelings, building self-connection, and exploring connections with others. But where do we go from here?
Well, that's where the real journey begins.
Yeah.
The prompts have given us a framework, like a set of tools for exploration.
Yeah, it's like we've been handed this incredible toolbox.
I love that analogy.
Filled with all these different ways to approach and understand loneliness.
Exactly.
Now it's about choosing the right tools for you and getting to work.
And what's so exciting is that the real treasure isn't even the end result.
Oh, tell me more.
It's the process itself.
Okay.
It's about those aha moments you have while journaling.
Yeah.
Those insights that emerge when you least expect them.
So as we wrap up our deep dive today into these 50 journal prompts, I'm curious what really resonated with you. What's that one nugget of wisdom you're going to take away from all of this?
Here's a final thought for you to ponder, inspired by what we've explored today. If loneliness were a teacher, what lessons might it be trying to teach you?
That is a powerful question.
It is.
It really flips the whole narrative on its head, doesn't it?
It does.
Instead of viewing loneliness as something negative, something to avoid at all costs, we can approach it with curiosity.
Yes.
With a willingness to learn and grow.
Exactly, because sometimes the most profound growth comes from those times when we feel the most alone.
It's true. And remember, you're not alone in this journey.
You're not.
Loneliness is a universal experience, and we're all navigating these complexities of human connection together.
Absolutely.
So grab your journal, find a quiet corner, and let the exploration begin. You might be amazed by what you discover about yourself.